In this restless world, many of us wake up already tired, our minds buzzing before our feet touch the ground. We reach for our phones, scroll through endless updates, and carry the weight of unfinished tasks, unpaid bills, broken relationships, and unspoken fears. Day after day, it feels as though we are running a race with no finish line, competing against invisible rivals, yet never arriving at peace. Stress has become our constant companion. Anxiety hides in the corners of our hearts. Loneliness whispers, even in crowded rooms. We strive for success, yet often feel emptier with every achievement. We want love, but find ourselves misunderstood. We want freedom, yet become prisoners of our own thoughts. Deep inside, there is a quiet question many of us avoid. Is this all there is? Is life meant to be an endless cycle of struggle, noise, and dissatisfaction? The truth is, you are not alone in this question. Millions across the world, especially in the fast-moving pace of modern society, feel the same invisible burden. And yet, there exists a path, an ancient path, tested through centuries, that can lead us out of this storm. It does not require blind belief, nor does it demand we abandon our modern lives. It is practical, clear, and deeply human. This is the path of the Buddha's wisdom. You do not need to become a monk or retreat to a mountain cave to find relief. You do not need to renounce your family, your career, or your dreams. What you need is a way to transform the very struggles of daily life into opportunities for awakening. Buddhist teachings are not abstract philosophies reserved for scholars. They are living tools designed to help ordinary people deal with ordinary pain. They are like a lamp shining in a dark room, showing us that what we thought was chaos can become clarity. Imagine this journey as entering a sanctuary within yourself, a place untouched by the noise of the world. Within this sanctuary lies the strength to face stress without being consumed by it, the wisdom to navigate money troubles without losing your soul, the compassion to heal broken relationships, and the courage to face anxiety with steady breath. Across the chapters to come, we will walk step by step into this sanctuary. Each section will reveal a pain we all know too well: stress, money, relationships, anxiety, fear of judgment, the endless race for validation. But with each pain, we will discover a door that opens into freedom. These doors are not locked. They have always been within reach. The Buddha's teachings are the keys, waiting for us to turn them. This is not a lecture, not a heavy doctrine. This is a story of us, of you, of every soul searching for peace. It is also an invitation to see your own life differently, to realize that your suffering is not a dead end, but a beginning. By the end of this journey, you will not only understand why you suffer, but also how to hold that suffering with compassion, how to transform it into wisdom, and how to step into a life of peace that cannot be shaken by external storms. So let us begin. Let us walk into the first doorway together and see how silence, the silence that modern life so often drowns, can become the sanctuary we have been searching for. Silence is one of the rarest treasures in our modern lives. Everywhere we go, there is noise. Cars rush past, televisions play in the background, phones buzz with constant notifications, and even our own minds chatter endlessly. Most of us are not afraid of the noise outside. We are afraid of the silence within. We fill every quiet moment with distractions because silence feels uncomfortable, almost threatening. But what if silence is not emptiness at all? What if silence is the very medicine we have been searching for? Imagine waking up one morning in the countryside. The sun rises slowly, painting the sky with shades of pink and gold. You step outside and there is no traffic, no emails, no demands. Only the sound of birds, the gentle rustle of leaves, the breath of the earth itself. In that moment, your mind begins to rest. For a few seconds, you feel whole again. That is the gift of silence. Yet how often do we allow ourselves such a gift? Most of us avoid it. We rush to speak, to explain, to post, to prove ourselves. We confuse constant talking with connection, but often our words are empty, filling space rather than nourishing the soul. The Buddha once said that silence is more meaningful than 1,000 empty words. It is not the absence of communication. It is the highest form of communication. When you are truly silent, you are listening. You are listening not only to the world, but to yourself, to the truth that waits beneath the noise. The pain of our age is that we have lost this connection. We speak endlessly, but rarely say anything that matters. We listen constantly, but rarely hear. Our conversations skim the surface, while our hearts remain untouched. This is why so many feel lonely, even in crowded rooms. We are drowning in words, yet starving for meaning. Emotionally, this creates an exhaustion deeper than any physical fatigue. When you talk without purpose, it is like throwing stones into a still lake. Each word creates ripples that disturb your inner peace. Over time, those ripples turn into waves, and soon the lake becomes a storm. You may notice this after long conversations filled with gossip or complaints. At first, it feels entertaining, but afterward, you feel drained, heavy, unsettled. That is the cost of words without awareness. On the other hand, think of a time when someone sat with you in true silence. Perhaps a loved one sat beside you in grief, saying nothing, but simply holding your hand. In that silence, you felt comforted more than any words could provide. This is the power of presence without noise. Silence is not a lack of communication. It is the purest form of connection. The solution begins with learning to honor silence as a sacred practice. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that silence is not withdrawal from life, but engagement with it on a deeper level. When you practice silence, you are not running away from the world. You are stepping into its heart. You are saying, I will not be ruled by noise. I will listen to the truth behind appearances. I will allow my mind to rest so my heart can awaken. Practical steps can guide you there. Begin by creating small pockets of silence in your daily routine. Turn off the radio during your drive and simply breathe. Before answering a text, pause for 3 deep breaths. At night, sit quietly for 5 minutes without your phone, without television, without any distraction. These moments may feel uncomfortable at first, but slowly they become windows into peace. Over time, silence transforms from emptiness into fullness. It becomes a sanctuary. You discover that your worth does not depend on how much you say. Your strength does not depend on how loudly you speak. True wisdom lies in restraint, in the courage to say less but mean more. This is the essence of right speech in Buddhism, not only speaking truth and kindness, but also knowing when silence is the best answer. The more you practice this, the more you notice how silence changes your relationships. In arguments, silence gives you space to respond wisely instead of reacting in anger. In friendship, silence allows you to listen deeply instead of waiting for your turn to speak. In love, silence creates intimacy beyond words. People begin to feel your presence, not just your voice. This presence carries a calm energy that speaks louder than any statement. You no longer need to prove yourself with constant explanations. Your stillness becomes your strength. Silence also teaches you to listen to your own mind. Beneath the noise of worry and desire lies a deeper knowing. When you sit quietly, you begin to hear it. This inner voice is not frantic. It is calm, clear, and steady. It tells you what truly matters. It guides you toward choices that align with your values. But you can only hear it if you stop filling the air with words. The Buddha compared the mind to a clear lake. When the surface is disturbed, you cannot see the bottom. But when the water is still, the truth becomes visible. Silence is the stillness that reveals your inner truth. In a culture that celebrates noise, Practicing silence may feel radical. People might ask why you are so quiet. They may mistake your silence for weakness or passivity. But silence is neither. It is strength disguised as humility. It is wisdom disguised as simplicity. When you no longer need to prove yourself with words, you have found freedom. This freedom is not about shutting the world out. It is about entering the world with clarity. In silence, you stop scattering your energy. You conserve it, nurture it, and channel it toward what truly matters. That is why silence feels refreshing. It is not draining, but renewing. Like a deep breath after a long run, silence restores your soul. The path of silence is not always easy. It requires patience. It requires letting go of the urge to fill space. But with each step, you will notice the change. Less anxiety, less conflict, more peace, more clarity. You will find that silence is not an empty room, but a sanctuary filled with wisdom. And once you have tasted this sanctuary, you will realize it was within you all along. And yet, this is only the beginning. For silence does not stand alone. It is the foundation upon which we build inner peace, the soil in which all other virtues can grow. From silence, we learn how to guard the most precious treasure of all our inner peace itself. Guarding silence is not only about external noise. The deeper challenge lies in taming the noise within. You may find yourself in a quiet room, but your thoughts refuse to rest. The mind leaps from worry to regret, from memory to imagination, creating a storm even in stillness. This is why so many people avoid silence. When the world becomes quiet, they are forced to confront the chaos inside. It feels easier to drown it with music, conversation, or constant activity. Yet the truth is that this inner noise cannot be silenced by adding more sound. It can only be softened by awareness. In Buddhist practice, silence is inseparable from mindfulness. When you sit in quiet, the mind begins to reveal its patterns. At first, you may notice restlessness. You may notice a flood of complaints or fears. This is not failure. This is the first stage of awakening. A noise you hear has always been there, hidden beneath distraction. Now, with silence, you can see it clearly. And once you see it, you can begin to let it go. Imagine your thoughts as clouds passing through the sky. Some are light and gentle. Others are heavy and dark. When you cling to them, they gather and block the sun. But if you watch them without grasping, they drift away, leaving the sky clear once again. Silence teaches you this art of watching without grasping. With practice, you realize that you are not your thoughts. You are the sky itself, vast and untouched, while thoughts are only passing clouds. This shift brings immense relief. The burden of endless thinking begins to lift. You no longer feel trapped in your own head. The silence within becomes a place of refuge, not fear. In daily life, this inner silence changes how you respond to challenges. Imagine being at work, where criticism from a colleague sparks your anger. In the past, you might have snapped back immediately, words sharp as knives. But with the practice of silence, you pause. You breathe. You listen to the storm inside without rushing to speak. And in that pause, wisdom arises. Instead of reacting with fire, you respond with calm. This single moment of silence prevents days of regret. It saves relationships. It builds respect. Such is the hidden power of silence. It creates space for wisdom to guide you, rather than letting emotions control you. Another example comes in moments of decision. Perhaps you face a financial choice, a career move, or a relationship question. The temptation is to talk endlessly about it, asking advice from everyone, scattering your energy into dozens of opinions. But deep down, you already carry the answer. Silence allows you to hear it. By sitting quietly, you connect with your deepest values. You recognize what truly matters, beyond fear and beyond pride. This inner clarity cannot be bought, and it cannot be given by others. It is born only in silence. On the spiritual path, silence also prepares the heart for compassion. When you stop filling every space with noise, you begin to notice the suffering of others. You hear the tone behind their words. You sense the pain they cannot express. Your silence becomes a listening ear, a safe space where others feel seen. In this way, silence is not isolation. It is connection at its deepest level. This is why wise teachers have always cherished silence. It is not escape, but engagement, not emptiness, but fullness. The more you practice, the more silence becomes your natural state. You carry it even in noisy environments. You walk through crowded streets with the calm of a still lake inside. You sit in meetings with an unshaken center. You live in the world without being consumed by its storms. And this, ultimately, is freedom. The sanctuary of silence is available to everyone. You do not need special rituals or retreats. You only need the courage to stop, to listen, to allow space. In this sanctuary, you discover your true self, not the self shaped by opinions, not the self desperate for approval, but the self that has always been whole. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us that silence is not the end. It is the beginning. It is the ground upon which peace grows. Once you build your sanctuary of silence, you realize you are holding a precious garden. But like all gardens, it must be protected. Without care, weeds of anger, gossip, and judgment can enter and destroy its harmony. This leads us naturally to the next lesson, guarding your inner peace. Silence gives us the doorway, but guarding peace ensures we do not lose it. For peace is fragile, and unless we learn to protect it, the noise of the world will return and trample it down. So as we leave the sanctuary of silence, we carry with us its lesson. Speak less, listen more, rest deeply, and let silence reveal the truth. And with this foundation, we are ready to explore how to guard our inner peace against the storms of life. Your inner peace is the most precious garden you will ever tend to. Yet in modern life, many people do not even realize they have such a garden. Instead, they walk through the world as if they are fields left unguarded, open to every storm, every wandering step of strangers. Stress from work, harsh words from family, judgments from social media, even the look of a stranger in traffic, each of these can trample the soil of your heart. You may notice how fragile your peace feels. One careless comment can ruin your entire day. One unexpected bill can rob you of sleep. One memory replaying in your mind can drain you of all joy. It is as if your heart were an open door, and every passing opinion, every careless word, enters without asking. The pain of this is obvious. You may feel as if you are constantly defending yourself, constantly on edge, waiting for the next blow. Life begins to feel like a battlefield. Even in moments of rest, the armor never comes off. This exhaustion is not only physical, but spiritual. Your inner peace, instead of being a safe haven, becomes the most vulnerable part of you. Emotionally, this leads to a deep sense of insecurity. You may begin to wonder if you will ever feel safe, if peace is even possible in such a noisy, critical, demanding world. You may feel resentment toward those who disturb your peace, believing that if only people around you are kinder, quieter, more understanding, you could finally be calm. But the truth is that no one can give you peace. Others may offer kindness, but peace is not something that can be handed to you. It must be built within and guarded by you. This realization can feel both heavy and liberating. Heavy, because it means responsibility lies in your hands. Liberating, because it means you no longer have to wait for the world to change before you can be at peace. The solution begins with seeing your peace as a garden, delicate yet powerful, alive and sacred. Every thought, every word, every action is like a seed planted in this soil. Some seeds grow into flowers of joy, patience, and kindness. Others grow into weeds of anger, envy, and fear. If you do not guard your garden, weeds will overtake it. This is why the Buddha emphasized mindfulness as the gatekeeper. Mindfulness is like a silent guardian standing at the entrance of your heart. With it, you notice what enters. You do not allow every careless judgment to take root. You see thoughts and feelings for what they are: temporary visitors, not permanent residents. Without mindfulness, every word from others pierces deeply. With mindfulness, you choose which seeds to nurture and which to let pass away. One practical way to begin guarding your peace is to pause before reacting. When someone speaks harshly, your instinct may be to defend yourself, to fight back with equal force. But in that reaction, you hand them the keys to your garden. You let their words dictate your state of mind. Instead, pause, breathe, ask yourself, do I want to plant this seed of anger in my heart? Do I want to let their storm destroy my garden? Often, the answer is no. By choosing silence, patience, or compassion, you close the gate and protect your peace. Another practice is to limit how much of yourself you give away carelessly. In today's culture of oversharing, many reveal every emotion, every struggle, every victory to the world. While vulnerability can be beautiful, constant exposure leaves your garden unguarded. Not every ear is a safe place for your story. Not every eye looks at you with compassion. By discerning where and with whom you share, you protect your peace from unnecessary harm. This does not mean hiding your true self. It means respecting your own heart enough to share it wisely. Guarding your peace also requires kindness toward yourself. Too often, the harshest voice in your life is your own. You criticize yourself for mistakes, compare yourself to others, and replay failures until the garden of your heart feels scorched. Here, Buddhist compassion becomes your shield. Speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend. Offer gentle words, patient understanding. Every act of self-compassion plants seeds of healing that grow into strength. Over time, you begin to see that your garden does not need to be perfect to be beautiful. It simply needs care. Consider also the company you keep. Some people are like sunshine, nurturing your garden with warmth. Others are like storms, pulling up roots with their negativity. Guarding your peace means choosing carefully who you allow into your space. This does not mean rejecting those who suffer, but it does mean creating boundaries. A boundary is not a wall of stone. It is a line of awareness that says, I will share my warmth and wisdom, but I will not allow my core serenity to be destroyed by your storm. Boundaries protect not only you, but also those around you. When your peace is intact, you can give without resentment, love without exhaustion, and support without drowning. The beauty of guarding your peace is that it multiplies. The more you protect it, the more it grows. Peace is not a finite resource. It is a living spring. The more carefully you tend it, the more it overflows into your words, your actions, your relationships. People begin to notice. They feel calmer around you, more centered, more at ease. You become not only a guardian of your own peace, but a source of peace for others. Yet guarding peace is not about building walls. It is about cultivating awareness. The garden you protect is not meant to be locked away. It is meant to be shared as a fragrance, as beauty, as nourishment. The stronger your boundaries, the more freely you can open, because you know you will not be destroyed by storms. This balance is the art of living wisely in a noisy world. And so, the sanctuary of silence leads naturally to the practice of guarding your inner peace. For silence opens the door, but guarding ensures that peace remains. Still, guarding peace is not only about external influences. It is also about the inner battle with a negative mind. For even with silence and boundaries, the weeds of negativity can grow quickly if left unchecked. And that is where our journey leads next, learning to tame the negative mind before it overpowers the garden of the heart. Guarding your inner peace is not a single act, but a lifelong practice. Just as a garden needs daily care, watering, weeding, nurturing, so does the heart. Without this attention, even the most beautiful garden can wither. And in modern life, distractions are endless. There is always a new demand from work, another opinion from a friend, another image on a screen telling you that you are not enough. The constant bombardment leaves many people restless, comparing themselves to others, doubting their worth, and chasing after approval that never satisfies. The pain of this pattern is subtle but deep. You may find yourself scrolling through social media late at night, feeling less happy with your own life because someone else appears more successful, more attractive, more fulfilled. You may notice your mood swinging with every piece of news, every judgment, every like or comment. Your inner peace feels fragile, like a candle flickering in the wind. Emotionally, this creates a cycle of dependence. Instead of standing firmly in your own truth, you allow external voices to dictate how you feel about yourself. If people praise you, you feel alive. If they criticize you, you collapse. This dependence is exhausting. It robs you of freedom. You are no longer living your own life. You are living the life others assign to you. The Buddha taught that clinging to the opinions of others is a form of attachment that leads to suffering. True freedom arises when you detach from external validation and find your worth within. Guarding your peace means learning to anchor yourself in that inner worth. One way to practice this is to create intentional spaces of solitude. Solitude is not loneliness. It is a conscious choice to step away from noise in order to hear your own voice. When you spend even a short time alone without distractions, you begin to reconnect with who you are, beyond roles, beyond titles, beyond expectations. You begin to remember that your value does not depend on what others think of you. In solitude, you rediscover your own center. Another practice is gratitude. When storms threaten your peace, gratitude acts as a shield. By focusing on what you already have, you stop feeding the weeds of envy and comparison. Gratitude is like sunlight for your garden. It nourishes joy, strengthens resilience, and reminds you that even in difficulty, beauty remains. Write down 3 things you are grateful for each day. They do not need to be grand. It could be the taste of warm tea, the smile of a friend, the comfort of a soft bed. Each act of gratitude reinforces the foundation of peace. Mindful breathing is another guardian. The breath is always with you, a silent companion. When your mind begins to spin with worry or anger, return to the breath. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly. With each breath, you remind yourself, I am here. I am alive. I am safe. The breath anchors you in the present, preventing storms of thought from uprooting your peace. Over time, mindful breathing becomes a habit, a natural shield against the chaos of life. Compassion is also essential in guarding peace. Not only compassion for others, but compassion for yourself. When you stumble, when you fail, when you feel overwhelmed, compassion allows you to soften instead of break. Without compassion, every mistake feels like a weapon against your peace. With compassion, mistakes become lessons, opportunities to grow without losing balance. This gentle approach ensures that your garden remains alive, even in harsh seasons. Relationships, too, play a crucial role. Some people water your garden with kindness, while others drain it with negativity. Guarding your peace does not mean cutting people off in anger. It means discerning how much access each person has to your heart. For those who bring light, open widely. For those who bring storms, set boundaries with love. Boundaries are not rejection. They are protection. They are a way of saying, I value my peace, and I will not allow it to be destroyed. With practice, boundaries become second nature. You stop explaining yourself excessively. You stop feeling guilty for saying no. You learn that protecting your peace is not selfish. It is the most generous gift you can give. Because when your peace is strong, you can give freely, love deeply, and serve without resentment. The more you guard your peace, the more it becomes unshakable. External noise may still surround you, but it no longer controls you. You walk through life with the calm of a steady flame, untouchable by the winds. People will notice. They may ask how you remain so centered while others are consumed by chaos. Your presence becomes a silent teaching, showing that peace is possible even in the busiest world. Yet even as you guard your peace, there remains one great challenge, the negative mind. For the greatest threat is not always outside, but within. Weeds of criticism, complaints, and fear can grow quickly if left unchecked. They arise silently, often disguised as truth. Unless we learn to tame this negative mind, no amount of silence or boundaries can fully protect our peace. And so, as we move forward, our journey naturally leads to this question: how do we deal with the mind when it becomes our own enemy? How do we stop the cycle of negativity before it destroys the garden we have worked so hard to protect? The answer lies in the next step of our path: taming the negative mind, transforming it from a dangerous master into a beautiful servant. The mind can be your greatest ally or your most dangerous enemy. It can lift you into joy, or it can drag you into despair. Many people discover, often too late, that their deepest suffering does not come from the world outside, but from the voices inside. A single negative thought, if left unchecked, can grow into a storm that drowns your peace. Consider how quickly one worry can multiply. You make a small mistake at work. Instead of letting it go, your mind whispers, I always fail. Soon that thought gathers weight. I am not good enough. Before long, it becomes, I will never succeed. The original mistake was small, but the mind has transformed it into a heavy chain that drags you down. This is the pain of an untamed mind. It takes one seed of doubt and grows a forest of suffering. Negative thoughts are like weeds in a garden. They do not need permission to grow. They appear without effort. If you do not notice them early, they spread quickly, choking the flowers of joy, kindness, and clarity. Each negative word you speak is like scattering more seeds, not only in your own garden, but also in the gardens of others. You have seen this in daily life. A single complaint at the dinner table can turn the entire mood sour. A single criticism at work can deflate the spirit of a whole team. Words carry energy, and negative speech spreads suffering like fire in dry grass. Emotionally, living with an untamed mind is exhausting. You may feel constantly attacked not by others, but by yourself. The mind repeats old mistakes like broken records. It imagines disasters that never happen. It criticizes, compares, and condemns without rest. The Buddha said that your own unguarded mind can harm you more than your worst enemy. And anyone who has wrestled with sleepless nights of worry knows how true this is. The suffering does not remain inside. It flows outward into your relationships. When your mind is full of anger, you speak harshly to those you love. When it is full of fear, you hesitate to take needed steps. When it is full of criticism, you pass judgment on others, wounding them as you wound yourself. The cycle is endless. Your negative mind harms you, you harm others, and the reaction fuels more negativity in you. Breaking this cycle is essential. Buddhist wisdom offers a clear path. Tame the mind with awareness, guide it with compassion, and purify it with right speech. The first step is awareness. Asterisk, you cannot change what you do not see. Begin by noticing your thoughts without judgment. When negativity arises, Do not fight it or deny it. Simply recognize it. This is anger. This is fear. This is self-criticism. Naming the thought weakens its grip. It turns an invisible force into something visible, something you can work with. The second step is questioning. Not every thought deserves your belief. Before speaking or acting on a thought, pause and ask, is this true? Is this useful? Is this kind? This is the practice of right speech, applied within your own mind. Many negative thoughts crumble under these questions. They reveal themselves to be distortions, fears, or echoes of old wounds. Once you see their weakness, you are free to let them go. The third step is replacing. The mind cannot be left empty. If you only pull weeds but plant nothing, they will grow back. After letting go of a negative thought, plant a positive one. Replace "I always fail" with "I am learning." Replace "I am not enough" with "I am growing." Replace "They will never understand me" with "I can try again with patience." This is not blind optimism. It is training the mind to see possibilities instead of prisons. Another powerful tool is meditation. When you sit quietly and observe your breath, you create distance between yourself and your thoughts. You see that thoughts come and go like clouds. You are not the thought. You are the sky. This shift changes everything. No longer do you feel trapped by negativity. You learn to let thoughts arise and pass without being dragged away. Over time, the mind becomes calmer, clearer, more disciplined. Compassion is also crucial. Often, the negative mind is fueled by hidden pain. Anger hides hurt. Fear hides insecurity. Criticism hides longing. By meeting your own mind with compassion, you heal the root of negativity. Instead of saying, "I should not think this way," say, "I see you, pain. I understand why you are here." This gentle acknowledgement soothes the mind and prevents the cycle of self-hatred. In daily life, taming the mind means choosing words with care. Before speaking, pause and reflect. Will this word bring light or shadow? Will it build or destroy? By practicing right speech, you not only protect others from harm, but also train your own mind toward kindness. Each kind word strengthens the habit of positivity, making it harder for weeds to return. This path is not about perfection. Even the most disciplined mind will sometimes fall into negativity. The practice is to notice quickly, to return gently, and to keep going. Every moment offers a chance to begin again. With time, the garden of your mind grows stronger. Flowers of patience, understanding, and joy bloom. Weeds still appear, but they no longer take over. You hold the tools to keep them in check. This is the freedom of a tamed mind, the freedom to choose peace over suffering, clarity over confusion, kindness over cruelty. And yet, as we learn to tame the negative mind, another question arises. What about our vulnerability? To be human is to feel deeply, to carry wounds, to expose ourselves to hurt. How can we embrace our vulnerability without letting it feed the negative mind? How can we share our hearts without losing our peace? The answer lies in the next step of our journey. The wisdom of vulnerability. To tame the negative mind is to understand its nature. The mind is like a wild horse, powerful, full of energy, yet dangerous when left unchecked. If you try to fight the horse with anger, it resists. If you ignore it, it runs wild. But with patience, guidance, and gentle firmness, the wild horse can become your greatest companion. So it is with the mind. The pain arises when we confuse thoughts with truth. A thought appears, "I am worthless. I will fail. They do not love me," and we accept it as reality. In that moment, we forget that a thought is only a cloud, not the sky. We give it the power to shape our emotions, our words, our actions. Soon, we live inside the prison our thoughts have built. This prison is invisible but suffocating. You may walk freely through the world, yet inside you are chained by self-doubt, anxiety, and fear. Emotionally, this prison creates a constant state of tension. You wake up already tired because the battle began long before morning. You replay arguments that never happened. You imagine failures before trying. You attack yourself for not being perfect. This inner war is relentless. The Buddha taught that we must become masters of the mind, not its slaves. Mastery does not mean suppressing thoughts. It means guiding them, shaping them, and choosing wisely which ones to follow. One method is to practice mindful interruption. When you notice a negative thought beginning its cycle, stop gently. Say to yourself, "I see this thought." Then ask, "Does it serve me?" If the answer is no, release it like a bird from your hand. This simple pause prevents the thought from multiplying into suffering. Another method is reframing. Instead of accepting the mind's harsh judgment, you look at the situation from a new angle. Failure becomes learning. Rejection becomes redirection. Criticism becomes feedback. By reframing, you transform poison into medicine. The negative mind loses its grip when you refuse to see life through its narrow lens. Visualization can also help. Imagine your negative thoughts as weeds. Each time you choose kindness over criticism, you pull one weed from the soil. Each time you breathe calmly, instead of reacting in anger, you plant a flower of patience. Over time, the garden changes. Your inner landscape reflects your choices. The more flowers you plant, the less space remains for weeds. Meditation deepens this process. By observing thoughts without clinging, you discover their impermanence. Anger arises, then passes. Fear arises, then passes. Even despair, heavy as it feels, eventually dissolves. This insight brings freedom. You no longer identify with every thought. You become the observer, not the prisoner. Compassion toward others also helps tame the negative mind. When you see that others suffer just as you do, your heart softens. Instead of feeding anger, you offer understanding. Instead of clinging to resentment, you release it. Compassion breaks the cycle of negativity by replacing judgment with connection. Forgiveness, too, plays a role. The negative mind thrives on old wounds, replaying them again and again. Forgiveness is not saying the hurt was right. It is saying, "I will not allow this pain to control me any longer." By forgiving, you free yourself from the chains of memory. The mind may try to return to the old wound, but each act of forgiveness weakens its hold. Daily practices anchor this taming process. Begin each morning with intention. Today, I choose peace. Throughout the day, return to the breath whenever negativity arises. At night, reflect with gratitude. What seeds of kindness did I plant today? These small rituals train the mind steadily, like guiding the wild horse one step at a time. Over months and years, the transformation becomes clear. The once chaotic mind now serves you with clarity and creativity. The once harsh critic now speaks with patience. The once relentless enemy becomes a faithful friend. And yet, taming the mind does not mean erasing vulnerability. To be human is to feel deeply, to carry scars, to risk hurt. The question is not whether we will be wounded, but how we respond to our wounds. If we share them carelessly, the negative mind uses them against us. If we hide them completely, we suffocate in silence. A path forward requires wisdom, the wisdom of vulnerability. As we leave behind the lessons of taming the negative mind, we step into this next truth. Vulnerability, when guided by discernment, does not weaken us. It strengthens us. It teaches us how to connect authentically without feeding the negativity within. And so, our journey now turns delicate but powerful balance, the wisdom of vulnerability, where the heart learns not only to protect itself, but also to open with grace Not to be human is to be vulnerable. We are born into a world where nothing is guaranteed. Our health can fail. Our relationships can break. Our dreams can collapse. No matter how strong we try to appear, beneath the surface there are fears, insecurities, and wounds we carry quietly. This vulnerability is not weakness. It is the very fabric of being alive. Yet in our modern culture, vulnerability is often treated as a flaw. People are taught to hide their emotions, to put on a brave face, to show only their strength. We are told to keep our struggles private, to always appear in control. The pain of this is heavy. When you hide your vulnerability, you create a mask that separates you from others. You may look confident on the outside, but inside you feel isolated. You want someone to understand, but you fear being judged. So you stay silent, carrying your burdens alone. Over time, this silence grows into loneliness. Even surrounded by people, you feel unseen. Emotionally, vulnerability becomes a double-edged sword. On one hand, you long to share your deepest truth, to tell someone about your fears, your grief, your insecurities. On the other hand, you fear that if you open your heart, others may reject you, mock you, or use your honesty against you. This conflict creates inner tension. You feel trapped between the need for connection and the need for protection. Many people resolve this tension by oversharing. They expose their wounds to anyone who will listen, hoping for relief. But without discernment, this can lead to more harm. Revealing your pain to the wrong person is like placing a fragile glass in careless hands. It may be dropped, broken, or used against you. Others choose the opposite path. They hide everything, locking their vulnerability away like treasure buried deep underground. This avoids immediate pain, but creates long-term suffering. A heart that never opens cannot truly connect. Relationships remain shallow. Love feels incomplete. Trust becomes impossible. The Buddha taught the middle way, not drowning in extremes, but walking the path of wisdom. The wisdom of vulnerability means recognizing that your wounds are sacred, not shameful. It means discerning who has earned the right to witness them. It means understanding that to share wisely is to strengthen connection, not to weaken yourself. Imagine your vulnerability as a precious jewel. Not everyone deserves to hold it. Before you entrust it to another, observe carefully. Do they listen with compassion, or do they judge quickly? Do they honor your trust, or do they spread your secrets? Do they show patience, or do they dismiss your feelings? True wisdom lies in discernment. When you find someone with a compassionate heart, vulnerability becomes a bridge. It deepens connection, builds trust, and allows love to grow. But when you share with someone careless, it becomes a wound reopened. This discernment does not come from fear. It comes from self-respect. By valuing your own heart, you learn to share it with care. Another layer of wisdom lies in how you hold your own vulnerability. Instead of running from it, you sit with it. You look at your fear and say, "I see you." You look at your wounds and say, "You are part of me, but you do not define me." This self-acceptance transforms vulnerability from a source of shame into a source of strength. Because when you can embrace your own fragility, you no longer fear being seen. Others' judgments lose their power. You stand in your truth, open yet steady. In relationships, this wisdom creates authenticity. You no longer need to pretend to be perfect. You can admit when you are hurt, when you are afraid, when you are uncertain. This honesty invites others to open as well. True intimacy is born not from perfection, but from shared vulnerability. When two people can show their scars without judgment, they discover a depth of connection words cannot describe. Practically, the wisdom of vulnerability can be cultivated step by step. Start by sharing small truths with safe people. Notice how they respond. Do they honor your openness, or do they dismiss it? Over time, you will learn who can be trusted with deeper truths. Protecting your heart is not closing it. It is guiding it towards safe spaces where it can open fully. Mindfulness helps in this process. By observing your feelings without judgment, you become more comfortable with your own vulnerability. Instead of pushing it away, you learn to sit with it gently. Over time, what once felt unbearable becomes manageable. Compassion deepens this practice. When you meet your vulnerability with kindness, you stop fighting yourself. You no longer see your wounds as enemies, but as teachers. Each scar becomes a reminder of survival, of growth, of humanity. This shift allows you to carry your vulnerability with dignity. Yet wisdom does not stop at self-acceptance. It extends outward. When you recognize your own vulnerability, you also recognize it in others. You see that everyone carries hidden fears and quiet wounds. This awareness softens your heart. You speak with more kindness, judge with less harshness, and listen with greater patience. In this way, the wisdom of vulnerability not only heals you, but also transforms your relationships. Vulnerability, when guided by wisdom, becomes strength. It creates trust, deepens love, and allows genuine connection to flourish. But without wisdom, vulnerability can expose you to harm. This balance between openness and discernment, between courage and care, is the art of living with an open heart. And as we explore further, we will see how this balance connects to the next step of the path, learning to walk the silent path to achievement, where our dreams grow not from constant announcements, but from quiet, steady effort. Vulnerability, when misunderstood, often feels like a threat. Many people believe that if they reveal their weaknesses, others will see them as broken, unworthy, or fragile. This belief drives them to wear masks of strength. They smile when they are hurting. They say, "I'm fine," when they are collapsing inside. They build walls so high that no one can enter. But the price of these walls is heavy. When you refuse to be vulnerable, you also refuse to be fully known. People may admire your strength, but they cannot touch your soul. Relationships remain polite, but never intimate. Friendships stay shallow, but never deep. Love becomes performance, not connection. The pain of this hidden loneliness is often worse than the pain of rejection itself. Emotionally, denying vulnerability creates inner conflict. On the surface, you may look confident. Inside, you feel unseen. You may find yourself surrounded by people, yet deeply alone. This dissonance leads to exhaustion, anxiety, and sometimes despair. For the human heart was not made for isolation. It was made for connection. And connection is impossible without vulnerability. But here lies the paradox. Vulnerability does not mean exposing yourself to everyone. It means choosing wisely. The Buddhist teaching on right association speaks directly to this. Surround yourself with those who uplift, encourage, and nurture wisdom. Share your heart with those who listen deeply, who hold your story with care, who respond with compassion. Not everyone is worthy of your trust, and recognizing this is wisdom, not fear. Practical wisdom begins with observation. Before opening your heart to someone, notice how they treat others. Do they gossip, mock, or dismiss? Or do they respect, encourage, and protect? How they treat others is often how they will treat you. Another key is testing with small steps. Share a small truth first. Watch their response. Do they honor it or dismiss it? Trust is not given all at once. It is built gradually. Over time, those who prove safe become worthy of deeper vulnerability. Yet even with the wisest choices, vulnerability will sometimes bring pain. Someone you trusted may disappoint you. Someone you loved may betray you. In these moments, the temptation is to close your heart forever. But closing the heart is not protection, it is imprisonment. The lesson is not to stop being vulnerable, but to deepen discernment. Pain becomes a teacher, showing you how to see more clearly, choose more wisely, love more skillfully. Vulnerability also requires courage. To admit fear, to reveal scars, to ask for help. These acts feel risky, but they are acts of strength. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to move forward despite fear. When you show vulnerability with courage, you inspire others to do the same. Your honesty gives them permission to take off their masks. In this way, vulnerability creates a ripple of authenticity that transforms communities. On the spiritual path, vulnerability is essential. To walk toward wisdom, you must admit ignorance. To grow in compassion, you must acknowledge your own pain. To move toward freedom, you must recognize your chains. Each step requires humility, openness, and the willingness to be seen as imperfect. And yet, it is in this imperfection that true beauty shines. The lotus flower grows from mud. Without the mud, there is no bloom. Without vulnerability, there is no growth. Meditation on vulnerability can be powerful. Sit quietly and bring to mind a wound you carry. Instead of pushing it away, hold it gently in awareness. Breathe into it. Whisper to yourself, "This too is part of me. This wound does not make me less. It makes me human." Over time, this practice softens the sharp edges of shame and transforms wounds into sources of compassion. Compassion naturally expands outward. When you accept your own vulnerability, you become more patient with others. You see that anger may hide fear, arrogance may hide insecurity, and harshness may hide pain. This understanding allows you to respond with kindness instead of judgment. Vulnerability becomes the root of empathy. In daily life, the wisdom of vulnerability changes how you relate. Instead of hiding your struggles, you learn to share them wisely. Instead of fearing rejection, you begin to trust that the right people will honor your truth. Instead of resenting your wounds, you begin to see them as teachers. This wisdom does not make life painless, but it makes it meaningful. For when we share our truth with discernment, we build bridges that no storm can destroy. Vulnerability, then, is not a weakness to be hidden, but a strength to be guided. It is the courage to be seen, the wisdom to choose carefully, and the compassion to embrace both yourself and others as imperfect yet worthy. And as we carry this wisdom forward, we realize that it applies not only to relationships, but also to our dreams and ambitions. For just as we must protect our hearts from careless hands, we must protect our goals from careless voices. Too often, we announce our plans before they are ready, seeking approval and validation. But fragile dreams, like fragile hearts, need silence and protection to grow strong. This leads us to the next chapter of our journey, walking the silent path to achievement, where our actions speak louder than our words, and where success blossoms not from constant exposure, but from quiet determination. Our dreams are delicate. They begin as small sparks, an idea, a vision, a quiet hope that something more is possible. In the early stages, these sparks are fragile. They need care, patience, and protection to grow into flames. Yet in our modern world, we are told to announce everything. Share your goals. Post your plans. Broadcast your progress. We are encouraged to speak loudly of what we intend to do, as if words alone can make it real. But words spoken too soon can be like cold wind on a young flame. Instead of strengthening the fire, they weaken it. Many people know the pain of this mistake. You dream of starting a new project, a new habit, a new chapter in life. Excited, you tell everyone? For a moment, the praise feels good. Asterisk, people applaud your ambition. But soon, something changes. The pressure builds. Instead of working quietly, you feel watched. Instead of moving freely, you feel weighed down by expectations. And when difficulties come, as they always do, you feel shame, not just for struggling, but for having announced your plans too soon. The dream, once alive with energy, begins to wither under the weight of exposure. Emotionally, this cycle is draining. You become attached to praise, needing external validation to fuel your motivation. The Buddha taught that attachment to outcomes leads to suffering, and nowhere is this clearer than in the pursuit of achievement. When your dream depends on applause, it loses its purity. It is no longer about the joy of creation, but about the fear of judgment. True achievement requires silence. Silence is the soil in which ambition grows strong roots. When you keep your goals private, you protect them from the winds of opinion, doubt, and jealousy. You allow them to mature in their own time, nourished not by praise, but by steady effort. Think of a seed planted in the ground. If you dig it up every day to show others, it will never grow. But if you leave it in silence, shielded from disturbance, it will sprout, strengthen, and eventually rise into the light. The same is true of dreams. Protect them in the soil of silence. Water them with discipline, and let time do its work. Practical wisdom begins with restraint. When you feel the urge to announce your plans, pause. Ask yourself, am I seeking approval or am I seeking growth? Approval may give temporary pleasure, but growth requires patience. Choose patience. Another step is to focus on action instead of words. Let your work speak. Quietly, consistently, do the small tasks each day that bring your vision closer. Progress built in silence has a different power. It does not rely on others' attention, and it cannot be shaken by others' doubt. Meditation also supports this silent path. By returning daily to stillness, you remind yourself that achievement is not about proving yourself to the world, but about aligning with your deepest values. You learn to release attachment to outcomes and to focus on the present step. This shift brings peace even in struggle. The Buddha taught that suffering comes from clinging to results. By practicing silence, you learn to release the grip of expectation and simply do the work. Emotionally, the silent path frees you from comparison. When you stop announcing every move, you stop measuring yourself against others' reactions. You begin to work for the joy of the work itself. Success becomes not a performance, but a process. Each day of effort is its own reward. Relationships also benefit from this silence. When you stop broadcasting your dreams, you reduce the pressure on those around you. They no longer feel burdened to applaud, to advise, or to compete. Instead, when your achievement finally blossoms, it arrives as a gift, surprising and inspiring. People respect results far more than promises. Silence gives you that respect. Yet silence does not mean isolation. It means discernment. There are times when sharing is wise, with a mentor, a trusted friend, a supportive community. But choose carefully. Share not for validation, but for guidance. Not to impress, but to learn. The difference lies in intention. Intention rooted in ego scatters energy. Intention rooted in growth strengthens it. In this way, silence becomes not an absence, but a strategy. It is the discipline of guarding your energy, focusing your will, and nurturing your dreams until they are strong enough to stand on their own. History is filled with examples. Many great creators worked in obscurity before their work was known. They did not chase attention. They chased truth. Their silence gave them the freedom to experiment, to fail, to refine, without fear of judgment. And when the time was right, their work emerged fully formed, powerful, because it was born of patience. You too can walk this path. Begin today. Choose one dream, however small. Instead of telling the world, keep it close. Each day, take one step in silence. Let your effort be your voice. Over time, you will discover the joy of building without the burden of applause. And when your success finally arrives, it will not need explanation. It will speak for itself. This is the silent path to achievement, a way of walking that is steady, patient, and free. And yet, the silent path does not stand alone. It connects to another teaching that deepens its power, the purity of selfless giving. For silence in achievement is not just about protecting yourself. It is about shifting focus from praise to purpose, from recognition to compassion. The true strength of silence lies in how it prepares the heart to give without seeking reward. The silent path to achievement is not about hiding from the world. It is about building strength within before revealing it without. When you work in silence, you cultivate resilience. Each challenge faced quietly becomes a lesson absorbed deeply. Each small success becomes a brick laid firmly in the foundation of your vision. Without the constant noise of approval or criticism, your focus sharpens. You learn to rely on discipline, not on the shifting winds of praise. Many people fall into the trap of speaking more than they act. They announce goals with enthusiasm, but struggle to follow through. This creates a cycle of disappointment. The more they talk, the less they achieve. The more they seek validation, the weaker their commitment becomes. The Buddha's teaching on right effort reminds us that progress comes not from grand declarations, but from steady, mindful action. Achievement is not a firework that bursts suddenly. It is a lamp that burns steadily, fueled by consistent effort. Emotionally, silence shields you from the weight of others' expectations. When you declare your dreams loudly, you invite judgment. Some will doubt you. Some will envy you. Some will burden you with their expectations. Their energy mixes with your own, creating confusion and doubt. But when you keep your vision quiet, you free yourself from this weight. You walk at your own pace, guided by your own values. This quiet confidence is liberating. It allows you to enjoy the journey instead of being crushed by the destination. In daily practice, walking the silent path requires patience. You may feel the urge to show progress, to prove your worth. But remember, the seed does not rush to become a tree. It trusts the process of growth. You, too, must trust. Each day of effort, though unseen, is shaping the roots of your success. Another practice is mindful humility. When success does come, resist the urge to boast. Let your actions speak. True achievement does not need to shout. It is recognized by its impact, not by its noise. In this way, you remain free from the trap of pride. Pride ties your worth to outcomes. Humility ties your joy to the process itself. Meditation reinforces this silent path. By sitting daily in silence, you strengthen your ability to detach from results. You learn to act without clinging, to create without needing applause. This brings a profound peace, for your happiness is no longer at the mercy of external opinion. The silent path also teaches you to face failure differently. When your work is private, failure becomes less frightening. You are free to experiment, to stumble, to learn, without the glare of an audience. This freedom fosters creativity. Many great discoveries are born, not in public triumph, but in private trial. In silence, you give yourself permission to try, to fail, and to grow. Relationships benefit as well. When you stop announcing every goal, you stop competing for attention. You begin to celebrate quietly, to support others sincerely, without comparing paths. This creates harmony, not rivalry. Others trust you more, for they see that your words are few, but your actions are strong. And when your achievements finally emerge, they inspire without needing explanation. The deeper lesson of the silent path is detachment. When you achieve in silence, you realize that success itself is not the final prize. The true prize is the transformation within, the patience learned, the resilience built, the humility practiced. These qualities remain with you long after the applause fades. The Buddha, warned that clinging to outcomes creates suffering. By walking the silent path, you learn to release that clinging. You do the work for the sake of the work, not for the promise of recognition. This is freedom. Yet silence in achievement has another hidden gift. It prepares the heart for generosity. When you stop chasing attention, you become less concerned with receiving and more concerned with giving. You begin to see achievement not as a personal trophy, but as a resource to share. Your success becomes not about status, but about service. This shift opens the way to the next stage of wisdom, the purity of selfless giving. For just as silence protects your dreams, selflessness purifies your heart. And when silence and selflessness walk together, achievement transforms from personal victory into collective blessing. True generosity is rare in our world. Many acts of giving are tangled with hidden motives, desires for recognition, praise, or repayment. We give and then wait to be thanked. We help and then expect others to remember our kindness. On the surface, this looks like generosity, but beneath, it is still self-centered. The Buddha taught that such giving does not bring lasting peace because it binds us to expectations. And where expectation lives, disappointment follows. The pain of conditional giving is familiar. Imagine helping a friend during a hard time. Perhaps you sacrifice your time, your energy, your resources. At first, you feel noble. But when your friend does not thank you as you hoped, resentment grows. You think, after all I did, how could they be so ungrateful? The joy of giving turns sour, replaced by bitterness. What began as kindness ends in suffering. This is the trap of giving with attachment. Emotionally, conditional giving drains the heart. Instead of being uplifted, you feel burdened. Instead of feeling connected, you feel used. Even when others do thank you, the joy is fleeting because it depends on their reaction. You remain caught in a cycle, giving not to give, but to gain. Selfless giving offers another path. It is giving without strings, without the need for recognition, without clinging to results. It is generosity that flows from compassion, not from ego. When you give in this way, the act itself becomes the reward. The Buddha described this as the highest form of generosity. Imagine giving as a river flowing freely. The river does not stop to ask the trees for gratitude. It nourishes because that is its nature. In the same way, selfless giving nourishes the world simply because compassion flows through you. The joy is immediate. The heart feels light, unburdened by expectation. Practical wisdom begins by examining your motives. Before giving, ask yourself, am I giving to be seen, or am I giving because it is needed? Am I seeking praise, or am I seeking to relieve suffering? Honest reflection reveals the truth. If you find hidden motives, do not judge yourself harshly. Simply notice and shift gently toward purity. Over time, the habit of selfless giving grows. Small acts are powerful. Holding a door, offering a kind word, giving your full attention to someone who feels invisible. These acts may seem ordinary, but when offered without expectation, they shine brightly. They remind the heart that joy is not in receiving, but in releasing. Selfless giving also extends beyond material things. Time, presence, patience, forgiveness, these are gifts as valuable as money, often more so. To sit quietly with someone in grief, expecting nothing, is a gift that cannot be measured. To forgive someone who has hurt you, not for their sake, but for your own freedom, is a profound act of generosity. Emotionally, selfless giving brings peace. When you expect nothing, you cannot be disappointed. When you give from compassion, you feel joy immediately, regardless of how others respond. This joy is lasting because it arises from within. The act itself is enough. Spiritually, selfless giving dissolves the illusion of separation. When you give without clinging, you realize the boundary between self and other is not as solid as it seems. Their happiness becomes your happiness. Their relief becomes your relief. This is the practice of compassion at its deepest level. Yet many people fear that selfless giving will leave them empty. They ask, if I give without expecting anything, will I not be taken advantage of? The truth is the opposite. When you give selflessly, your heart expands. Far from being depleted, you are replenished. Generosity creates abundance. The more you give, the more joy flows through you. The more joy flows, the more energy you have to give. This cycle of compassion is endless. Selfless giving must also be balanced with wisdom. Giving does not mean allowing yourself to be exploited. The Buddha taught that wise giving considers time, place, and need. It means offering what truly helps, not what fuels harm. It means setting boundaries when necessary, so that generosity remains pure, not destructive. In practice, this may mean refusing to support someone's harmful habits, even if they ask. It may mean saying no when your own health is at risk. Selfless giving does not ignore wisdom. It unites compassion with discernment. Meditation on giving can deepen this practice. Sit quietly and imagine sending kindness to someone without telling them. Imagine their relief, their smile, their peace. Feel joy in your heart, even though they may never know it came from you. This meditation plants seeds of pure generosity, training the mind to give without attachment. Over time, selfless giving transforms your relationships. People feel your kindness without feeling your demand. They sense your compassion without sensing your ego. Trust grows. Connection deepens. And you discover a freedom that conditional giving can never provide. Ultimately, the purity of selfless giving is not about changing the world overnight. It is about changing the state of your own heart. When generosity becomes natural, when compassion flows without clinging, you carry peace within. And this peace radiates outward, touching everyone you meet. Yet, even as we practice giving freely, another challenge arises. Many people struggle not with what they give, but with how much they care about the opinions of others. Even when they act generously, they wonder, what will people think? Will they approve? Will they notice? This dependence on external validation threatens inner peace. And so our journey leads naturally to the next lesson, learning to detach from the opinions of others, so that our peace is no longer at the mercy of fleeting judgments. There is a hidden freedom in selfless giving. When you no longer measure kindness by recognition, you begin to notice something remarkable. Your heart feels lighter. You are no longer chained to the reactions of others. Whether they thank you or forget you, whether they praise you or criticize you, your joy remains untouched. The act itself becomes the reward. This freedom is the essence of true generosity. The pain of conditional giving lingers in many lives. Parents may sacrifice for their children, yet later feel bitterness if those children do not express enough gratitude. Friends may give time and support, only to feel disappointed when help is not returned. These moments reveal that the giving was not fully free, it was tied to expectation. And expectation, when unmet, turns generosity into suffering. Emotionally, this creates resentment. The giver feels unappreciated. The receiver feels burdened. What should have been a bond of love becomes a weight of obligation. Both sides suffer, and the spirit of generosity is lost. But when giving is selfless, this chain breaks. The gift is offered freely, without demand. The receiver feels gratitude without pressure. The giver feels joy without attachment. Both are uplifted. Practical steps can help nurture this kind of generosity. Begin with small acts done in secret. Help someone without telling them. Pay for a stranger's meal. Leave a kind note where no one will know it was you. These anonymous acts train the heart to give without the need for recognition. Over time, the habit grows. You discover that the sweetest joy comes not from applause, but from quiet compassion. Another step is to reflect after giving. Ask yourself, did I feel joy in the act itself, or did I feel tension waiting for a response? If you notice tension, smile gently. This awareness is progress. With practice, the joy of pure giving becomes more natural. Compassion meditation deepens this practice. Imagine someone in need. Visualize yourself offering them comfort, relief, or support. Feel the joy of their healing, even though it is only in your mind. This mental rehearsal strengthens the habit of giving selflessly, preparing you to act with the same spirit in daily life. Selfless giving also transforms how you see wealth and success. In a world that measures worth by accumulation, generosity is revolutionary. To give freely is to declare that joy is not found in hoarding, but in sharing. The Buddha taught that clinging to possessions creates suffering, while generosity creates freedom. By giving, you loosen the grip of greed and discover abundance in simplicity. Yet generosity must be balanced with wisdom. True giving is not blind. It asks, will this gift truly help? Sometimes the kindest act is not to give what is asked, but to give what is needed. A person trapped in harmful habits may ask for money, but wisdom may guide you to offer food instead. A friend may demand constant attention, but wisdom may guide you to set boundaries so that love does not turn into exhaustion. Selfless giving is pure when it unites compassion with discernment. Emotionally, this balance protects the heart. You can give freely without fear of being exploited. You can love deeply without drowning. You can serve without losing yourself. This balance allows generosity to remain sustainable, a source of joy rather than a source of pain. Over time, the purity of selfless giving becomes a way of life. You no longer ask, what will I gain? But how can I serve? You no longer count your sacrifices, but celebrate your opportunities to give. Each act, no matter how small, becomes a thread in the fabric of compassion that connects you to all beings. Spiritually, selfless giving dissolves the illusion of separation. You see that others' suffering is not separate from your own. Their happiness is not separate from yours. By giving freely, you affirm the truth of interconnection. You realize that to nourish another is to nourish yourself, that to heal another is to heal yourself. This is the deepest joy of generosity. Ultimately, selfless giving is not about loss, but about liberation. By giving without clinging, you free yourself from the prison of ego. You discover a joy that cannot be taken away, a peace that does not depend on outcome, a love that expands endlessly. And yet, even as we practice giving freely, another challenge arises. Many people still find their peace tied to the shifting opinions of others. Even in generosity, they wonder, will people notice? Will they approve? Will they think well of me? This dependence on external validation keeps the heart restless. To give purely, we must also learn to detach from the praise and criticism of the world. This is the next step of the journey, detaching from the opinions of others, so that our peace is no longer at the mercy of fleeting judgments. Asterisk, one of the greatest prisons in modern life is the prison of other people's opinions. From childhood, we are taught to care about what others think. Parents, teachers, friends, colleagues, each voice leaves an imprint. Praise makes us feel worthy. Criticism makes us feel small. Slowly, we begin to live not for ourselves, but for the approval of others. The pain of this dependence is deep. Imagine preparing for a presentation at work. You work hard, you give your best effort, and yet your mind races not with the joy of sharing, but with fear. Will they like me? Will they laugh at me? What if I fail? Your worth becomes tied to their reaction. If they praise you, you feel alive. If they criticize you, you collapse. Your inner peace rises and falls like a boat, tossed on waves you cannot control. Emotionally, this cycle is exhausting. You feel pulled in 100 directions, trying to please everyone, yet never truly pleasing yourself. You wear masks, change your behavior, hide your true feelings, all to avoid judgment. And still, judgment comes. The Buddha taught that no one escapes criticism. Even the most enlightened beings were praised by some and condemned by others. If the Buddha himself could not please everyone, how can we? The solution is not to silence others, but to free yourself from the grip of their opinions. Detachment does not mean arrogance. It does not mean ignoring advice or rejecting feedback. It means listening with wisdom, considering what is useful, and then returning to your own center. It means no longer allowing praise or criticism to dictate your worth. Practical wisdom begins with awareness. Notice how often your choices are influenced by fear of judgment. Do you dress to express yourself or to avoid criticism? Do you speak your truth or remain silent to keep the peace? Awareness reveals the subtle ways you hand over your freedom. The next step is reflection. Ask yourself, whose opinion truly matters? A stranger's passing comment? A colleague's quick judgment? Or your own conscience, your own values, your own truth? When you align with your inner compass, the noise of the crowd begins to fade. Another practice is to remember impermanence. Opinions change quickly. Today's praise can become tomorrow's criticism. If you anchor your worth in this shifting sand, you will always feel unstable. But if you anchor in your values, your peace remains steady. Meditation helps strengthen this detachment. As you sit in silence, you notice thoughts of fear and desire for approval. Instead of feeding them, you let them pass. Over time, you see clearly. Opinions are only thoughts in other people's minds. They are not truth. They are not you. This insight brings freedom. Emotionally, detachment feels like a weight lifted. You no longer waste energy trying to manage every perception. You begin to live authentically, speaking your truth with kindness, acting from integrity rather than fear. Relationships also shift. Some people may resist your authenticity at first. They may prefer the version of you that sought their approval. But true connection is born from honesty, not performance. Those who value you will stay. Those who do not are never truly with you. Detachment from opinions also deepens compassion. When you stop clinging to others' judgments, you stop judging them so harshly. You realize that just as you long for acceptance, so do they. This shared vulnerability softens your heart. You become less reactive, more patient, more kind. Spiritually, detachment is essential for peace. The Buddha compared opinions to the wind. Sometimes the wind blows in your favor, sometimes against you. If you chase it, you will be forever restless. But if you stand firm, rooted in wisdom, the wind cannot move you. You remain steady, calm, free. Yet this freedom requires courage. Detaching from opinions means risking misunderstanding, risking criticism, risking rejection. But the reward is authenticity. You no longer trade your truth for acceptance. You no longer sell your peace for approval. You stand whole, even if alone. And in that wholeness, you discover that you are never truly alone, for your own heart is with you. Practically, you can begin today. The next time you feel fear of judgment, pause, breathe, ask, if no one else's opinion mattered, what would I choose? Then act from that place. Each act of authenticity strengthens your freedom. Over time, the chains of opinion loosen. You realize that peace was never in others' hands. It was always within you. And as this freedom grows, you become ready for the next stage of wisdom. Learning to face mistakes not with shame, but with growth. Transforming failure into a teacher rather than a curse. The fear of judgment. is one of the most powerful forces shaping human behavior. It whispers in the back of your mind before every decision. What will they think? It follows you into classrooms, workplaces, relationships, even into your private dreams. This fear can be so strong that you abandon your own truth to avoid the risk of disapproval. The pain of this is deep. Many people live entire lives not as themselves, but as characters written by others' expectations. They choose careers to impress, not to fulfill. They maintain relationships to avoid gossip, not to nurture love. They silence their voices because they fear being misunderstood. At the end of such a life, the question arises, did I ever live for myself? Emotionally, this fear creates anxiety. Every choice feels heavy, every word feels dangerous, because your worth depends on external reactions. Praise feels like oxygen, but criticism feels like suffocation. You may even avoid new opportunities, not because you cannot succeed, but because you fear how failure will look in the eyes of others. The Buddha's wisdom cuts through this fear with clarity. No one escapes opinion. You can be kind, and some will call you weak. You can be firm, and some will call you cruel. You can be silent, and some will call you cold. You can speak, and some will call you arrogant. No matter what you do, the world will have something to say. Realizing this truth is liberating. If judgment is inevitable, why waste energy chasing approval? Instead, choose to live in alignment with your values. Detachment from opinions is not indifference. It is not closing your ears or hardening your heart. It is listening with discernment. If feedback is true and useful, accept it with gratitude. If it is false or harmful, release it without anger. You remain steady, neither inflated by praise nor crushed by criticism. Practical exercises can support this detachment. One is journaling. Write down moments when you felt shaken by someone's opinion. Then reflect, was their judgment true, or was it only projection? Did it reflect your values or theirs? Often, you will find that their words reveal more about their own fears than about your reality. Another practice is role reversal. Imagine yourself as the one giving the opinion. How many times have you judged someone quickly without knowing their whole story? Realizing how easily opinions are formed helps you take them less seriously. You see that they are not ultimate truths, but passing impressions. Meditation also strengthens this freedom. Each time a fear of judgment arises, return to the breath. Remind yourself, this thought is not me. This fear is not permanent. With each inhale and exhale, the grip of opinion loosens. Over time, you carry an unshakable calm. Emotionally, detachment feels like coming home. You begin to act not from fear, but from authenticity. You express your ideas, pursue your dreams, and live your truth without apology. Some will accept you, others will not, but your peace no longer depends on their choice. This authenticity transforms relationships. Those who stay by your side know the real you, not a mask. Trust deepens, love becomes genuine, and connection becomes freer. Those who cannot accept your authenticity fall away, but their absence becomes a blessing, making space for those who truly belong. Spiritually, detachment from opinions reveals a deeper truth. You are not defined by external voices. Your worth is not written in praise or blame. It is rooted in the simple fact of being. You are already whole, already complete, already enough. When you stand in this truth, the winds of opinion cannot shake you. They may blow, but you remain steady, like a mountain unmoved by storms. Yet freedom from opinions requires practice. The world will always tempt you to seek approval. The ego will always crave recognition. Each time this craving arises, gently remind yourself, peace is greater than praise. Truth is greater than approval. With repetition, this becomes your natural way of living. Detachment also prepares you for the next challenge, dealing with mistakes. For even when you stop fearing others' opinions, you may still fear your own. Self-criticism can be harsher than any external judgment. Many people carry the weight of past errors, replaying them endlessly, punishing themselves for years. To live freely, we must learn not only to release others' opinions, but also to release the chains of our own mistakes. And so our journey continues, moving from the freedom of detachment to the wisdom of embracing mistakes as teachers, not curses. Everyone makes mistakes. It is part of being human. Yet for many, mistakes feel like unbearable failures. Instead of seeing them as natural steps in learning, people treat mistakes as proof of unworthiness. A wrong decision at work becomes a heavy label. I am incompetent. A failed relationship becomes a cruel judgment. I am unlovable. A missed opportunity becomes a permanent scar. I will never succeed. The pain of this mindset is sharp. Instead of moving forward, people get stuck in regret. They replay the past endlessly, wishing they could change what has already been written. The more they focus on the mistake, the larger it grows until it overshadows everything else. Life becomes a cycle of shame and self-criticism, where joy feels out of reach. Emotionally, this cycle is exhausting. The mind attacks itself with harsh words. Why did you do that? How could you be so foolish? The heart carries the weight of guilt long after the world has moved on. This inner punishment creates anxiety, depression, and hopelessness. It isolates you from others because you fear their judgment as much as your own. Yet Buddhist wisdom offers another way. The Buddha taught that suffering often arises not from what happens, but from how we relate to what happens. A mistake itself is only an event. It is our clinging, our judgment, our refusal to let go that turns it into suffering. When we see mistakes through the lens of mindfulness, they transform from curses into teachers. Consider a child learning to walk. They fall hundreds of times. Yet no one calls the child a failure. Each fall is simply part of the process. In fact, without falling, they would never learn balance. The same is true for us. Mistakes are not proof of inadequacy. They are proof that we are trying, that we are growing, that we are alive. The solution begins with shifting perspective. Instead of asking, "Why did I fail?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Each mistake carries a lesson if we are willing to listen. Sometimes the lesson is practical, new skill, a better strategy, a clearer boundary. Sometimes the lesson is spiritual patience, humility, compassion for ourselves and others. Practical steps can help embrace mistakes as teachers. The first is self-compassion. Speak to yourself as you would to a friend. If your friend made the same mistake, would you attack them endlessly? Or would you comfort them, reminding them of their worth? Offer yourself the same kindness. This softens the sting of failure and opens the door to learning. The second step is reflection. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, write down what you learned. What will you do differently next time? How has this mistake strengthened you? Reflection turns regret into wisdom. A third step is forgiveness. This means releasing the past, both for yourself and for others. Forgiveness is not saying the mistake was right. It is saying, "I will not carry this burden any longer." When you forgive, you cut the chain that ties you to yesterday, freeing yourself to walk forward. Meditation supports this process. Sit quietly and bring to mind a mistake that still weighs on you. Breathe deeply, and with each exhale, imagine releasing the shame. Whisper to yourself, "I made a mistake, but I am not the mistake. I am learning. I am growing." Over time, this practice dissolves the heaviness and replaces it with peace. Emotionally, embracing mistakes brings freedom. You no longer fear trying new things because you know failure is not the end, it is part of the journey. You approach life with curiosity instead of caution. You become kinder to yourself, and by extension, kinder to others. Relationships also change. When you accept your own imperfections, you stop demanding perfection from others. You allow them to stumble, to err, to be human, without judgment. This creates trust, openness, and deeper connection. Spiritually, mistakes become stepping stones to wisdom. Each misstep humbles the ego, teaching you that control is an illusion. Each failure deepens compassion, reminding you that all beings struggle. Each regret invites mindfulness, guiding you to live more fully in the present instead of clinging to the past. Over time, you come to see mistakes not as obstacles, but as teachers disguised in difficulty. Yet even as we learn to embrace mistakes, another challenge arises. The mind, restless by nature, often dwells in the past or leaps into the future. It magnifies regrets or anxieties, keeping us from experiencing the only moment that truly exists, the present. And so our journey continues, leading us from the fall, lessons of mistakes to the power of mindfulness, where peace is found not in rewriting yesterday or controlling tomorrow, but in living deeply today. Mistakes are powerful mirrors. They show us parts of ourselves we might otherwise ignore. They reveal impatience, pride, carelessness, or fear. Though uncomfortable, these reflections are gifts. Without them, we might continue blindly, unaware of the habits that hold us back. The pain of mistakes lies not in the event itself, but in our resistance to seeing what they reveal. Many people choose denial. They blame others, circumstances, or fate. They say, "It wasn't my fault," or "I had no choice." By refusing responsibility, they avoid shame, but also block growth. Emotionally, this creates stagnation. You repeat the same errors, caught in cycles that never break. Life feels frustrating because the same lessons return, louder each time. Others fall into the opposite trap, obsession. They replay mistakes endlessly, punishing themselves long after the world has forgotten. Instead of denial, they drown in guilt. Emotionally, this breeds despair. You believe the mistake defines you, that you are permanently flawed. This weight crushes creativity, silences joy, and isolates you from love. Buddhist wisdom shows a middle path. Acknowledge, learn, and release. Acknowledge the mistake without denial. Learn from it without obsession. Release it without clinging. This balance transforms mistakes into stepping stones. A practical exercise is mindful review. At the end of each day, reflect gently. Where did I stumble? What can I learn? Write it down and let it go. This simple habit prevents mistakes from becoming either forgotten or exaggerated. Another practice is reframing. Instead of calling something a failure, call it feedback. Instead of saying, "I ruined everything," say, "I discovered what doesn't work." Words shape perception, and perception shapes growth. Choose words that empower, not imprison. Forgiveness is also essential. To forgive yourself is to accept that imperfection is part of the human journey. You cannot walk without stumbling. You cannot speak without error. You cannot love without risk. By forgiving yourself, you honor your humanity. Forgiveness of others works the same way. When others hurt you, they too act from ignorance, fear, or pain. To forgive is not to excuse, but to release. You refuse to carry the weight of anger, choosing peace instead. Meditation supports this release. Visualize placing your mistake into a river. Watch the water carry it away. Feel the lightness in your heart as you let go. Each time guilt arises, return to this image. Over time, the burden fades. Spiritually, mistakes become teachers of humility. They remind you that control is limited, that wisdom grows slowly, that compassion is always needed. They soften the ego, making space for grace. They show you that the path is not about perfection, but about perseverance. In relationships, embracing mistakes creates resilience. Couples who can admit errors and forgive each other grow stronger. Families that allow imperfection create safety. Teams that learn from failure become more innovative. A culture that embraces mistakes as teachers becomes a culture of growth. Emotionally, this shift replaces fear with courage. When you no longer fear mistakes, you dare to try. You take risks, explore new paths, speak your truth. Creativity flourishes in the soil of acceptance. Peace grows where shame once ruled. Ultimately, mistakes are not barriers, but bridges. They carry you from ignorance to wisdom, from arrogance to humility, from fear to courage. They are not signs of weakness, but signs of effort. They mean you are alive, learning, becoming. And yet, even as we learn to embrace mistakes, the restless mind continues its habits. It clings to the past, replaying regrets. It leaps into the future, fearing what might come. Rarely does it rest in the present moment, the only place where peace exists. To truly transform mistakes into wisdom, we must learn to anchor ourselves in the now. And so the journey continues, guiding us from the weight of regret toward the freedom of mindfulness, living fully in the present moment, where every breath is a chance to begin again. The present moment is the only moment we truly have, yet it is the one we neglect the most. Our minds are like restless travelers, constantly wandering into the past or racing into the future. We replay old conversations, regrets, and mistakes. We imagine future problems, fears, and plans. In this endless wandering, the present slips away unnoticed. The pain of this neglect is immense. Many people spend years worrying about what might happen tomorrow, only to realize they never fully lived today. Others remain trapped in old wounds, reliving past failures until the joy of the present is lost. Life becomes a shadow, not an experience. The tragedy is that while the mind is everywhere else, the body is here. You breathe, but you do not notice. You eat, but you barely taste. You walk, but your feet move without awareness. Each moment passes unused, like treasures buried in the sand. Emotionally, living outside the present creates constant tension. Anxiety grows from imagining the future. Regret grows from clinging to the past. Peace remains out of reach, because peace can only exist in now. The Buddha compared the mind to a monkey, always leaping from branch to branch, never resting. Unless trained, the mind pulls us endlessly away from the present. The solution begins with mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of bringing attention back to now. It is noticing your breath, the taste of food, the sound of birds, the feeling of your feet on the ground. It is simple yet powerful. By returning to the present, you return to life itself. Practical exercises help cultivate this awareness. Start with mindful breathing. Inhale slowly, exhale gently, and notice each breath. Whenever your mind wanders, return kindly to the breath. This simple act anchors you in the present. Another practice is mindful walking. As you walk, feel each step. Notice how your foot touches the earth, how your body moves, how air brushes your skin. Even in ordinary moments, mindfulness transforms life into something vivid and alive. Eating can also be mindful. Instead of rushing, pause to truly taste. Notice texture, flavor, aroma. Appreciate the effort that brought this food to your plate. The farmer, the sun, the rain, the cook. Gratitude naturally arises, deepening peace. Emotionally, living in the present dissolves worry. The future has not come. The past is gone. Only now is real. When you anchor here, fear loses power. Anxiety fades, regret softens, and joy grows. Mindfulness also changes how you relate to others. When you listen with full presence, people feel seen, valued, understood. Conversations deepen. Relationships strengthen. Even brief interactions carry warmth. Spiritually, the present moment is where awakening happens. The Buddha taught that enlightenment is not found in clinging to past or future, but in seeing clearly here and now. Each mindful breath is a step into freedom. Each moment of awareness is a doorway to peace. Yet mindfulness is not always easy. The mind will resist. It will say, "This moment is not enough. You must plan, fix, achieve." But wisdom answers, "This moment is already complete. Nothing is missing." With practice, this truth becomes clear. Peace is not something to reach. It is something to return to again and again in the present. Meditation strengthens this return. Each time you sit, notice how the mind wanders. Do not fight it. Gently bring it back again and again. Each return is victory. Each return builds strength. Over time, the present becomes not a stranger but a home. Emotionally, this homecoming feels like relief. You stop chasing life and start experiencing it. You discover joy in small things, a smile, a breeze, a simple breath. Gratitude grows naturally. Fear diminishes. Love expands. Practically, living in the present helps with challenges too. When faced with problems, the mind often spirals into what-if scenarios. But mindfulness asks, what can I do right now? By focusing on the present step, even great challenges become manageable. One step at a time, one breath at a time, mountains are moved. Ultimately, living in the present moment is not about ignoring past or future. It is about balance. You honor the past by learning from it. You prepare for the future by planning wisely. But you live here in now, because here is the only place peace can exist. And as you deepen in presence, you find that life itself becomes meditation. Washing dishes, walking, talking, all can be sacred when done with awareness. Still, even with mindfulness, storms will come. Pain, loss, and grief are part of life. The question then becomes, how do we face suffering itself without being destroyed? This leads us naturally to the next step of our journey, transforming suffering into strength, where even life's hardest trials become fuel for awakening. Living in the present moment is like drinking clear water after years of thirst. Yet many resist it, believing the present is too ordinary, too small, compared to the grand plans of the future or the vivid memories of the past. They overlook that every joy, every experience, every moment of love or beauty has only ever happened in the now. To miss the present is to miss life itself. The pain of ignoring the present shows up in daily habits. People rush through meals, barely tasting their food. They scroll through phones while sitting with loved ones, half present at best. They walk through parks without noticing the trees, the air, the sky. Life becomes background noise. Later, they wonder why happiness feels so distant. Emotionally, this creates emptiness. No matter how much you achieve, it never feels enough because you never pause to experience it. Even victories lose their joy when the mind is already chasing the next goal. The Buddha taught that this restless hunger is suffering, the endless craving for what is not here. The solution begins with slowing down. To live in the present, you must learn to stop rushing, pause, breathe. Notice where you are, what you feel, what you see. Even small pauses can shift everything. Drinking a glass of water with full attention becomes refreshment for the soul. Listening fully to a friend becomes an act of love. Walking mindfully becomes a meditation. Practical exercises help deepen this awareness. One is the one thing practice. Choose one daily activity, washing dishes, brushing teeth, sipping coffee, and do it with full attention. No distractions, no rushing. Simply be with the activity. Over time, the habit of mindfulness expands naturally into more moments. Another practice is mindful listening. The next time someone speaks, resist the urge to plan your response. Instead, give them your full presence. Notice their words, tone, and emotion. Often, this simple act of listening heals more than advice ever could. Gratitude also anchors you in the present. Each morning or evening, name 3 things you are grateful for right now. They may be simple: the warmth of sunlight, the sound of laughter, the comfort of a bed. Gratitude pulls the mind from what is missing to what is here. Emotionally, these practices create peace. Anxiety fades because you no longer live in imagined futures. Regret softens because you no longer cling to the past. Joy arises naturally because you allow yourself to experience life as it unfolds. Spiritually, presence opens the door to awakening. The Buddha described mindfulness as the direct path to liberation. When you are fully present, illusions dissolve. You see clearly. Thoughts are just thoughts, not truth. Emotions are just waves, not identity. Life is impermanent, yet each moment is precious. This clarity brings freedom. Relationships also thrive in presence. When you are truly with someone, they feel it. Your attention becomes a gift more valuable than any possession. Love deepens, trust grows, connection strengthens. Presence is the foundation of intimacy. Yet mindfulness does not mean escaping difficulty. Pain will still come: loss, illness, disappointment. But presence allows you to meet suffering without drowning in it. Instead of adding stories, judgments, and fears, you face what is actually here. A painful moment remains painful, but it does not multiply into endless suffering. Meditation strengthens this resilience. Each time you return to the breath, you train the mind to stay steady even in storms. Each return builds the habit of presence so that when hardship comes, you do not collapse. Instead, you breathe, you stay, you endure. Ultimately, living in the present moment is not about abandoning past or future. It is about balance. Learn from the past, plan for the future, but live here. For here is the only place life exists. Here is where peace is found. Here is where love is real. And as you deepen in presence, you discover that even suffering can be transformed. For when you face pain with mindfulness, it becomes a teacher, a source of strength, a doorway to compassion. This leads us into the next chapter of our journey, transforming suffering into strength, where the very struggles we once feared become the soil from which wisdom and resilience grow. Suffering is something no one can escape. Illness, loss, disappointment, betrayal, these are not exceptions in life, but part of its fabric. Yet most people spend their days running from suffering, pretending it should not exist, or asking, "Why me?" This resistance often makes the pain heavier than it needs to be. The Buddha did not promise a life without suffering. Instead, he taught that suffering itself can become the doorway to wisdom. If we face it with mindfulness, suffering transforms into strength. The pain of suffering begins with its shock. You lose someone you love, and the world feels broken. You face failure, and your confidence collapses. You encounter illness, and suddenly life feels fragile. These moments strike like storms, shaking the ground beneath your feet. Emotionally, suffering feels overwhelming. The mind asks endless questions. Why did this happen? How will I survive? What if it never gets better? Fear, anger, and despair mix into a storm that seems impossible to endure. Many people respond by numbing themselves. They drown pain in distractions: alcohol, entertainment, endless work. Others collapse under its weight, believing they cannot go on. Yet Buddhist wisdom offers another response. Do not run, do not collapse. Instead, face suffering directly with awareness. See it not as an enemy, but as a teacher. The first step is acceptance. Acceptance does not mean liking suffering. It means acknowledging that it is here. Denial only adds more pain. When you say, "This should not be happening," you fight against reality. But when you say, "This is happening, and I will meet it," you begin to regain strength. The second step is mindfulness. Stay with the experience as it is, without adding stories. If there is grief, allow grief. If there is fear, notice fear. Do not drown in it, but do not push it away. Simply breathe with it. Each breath becomes an anchor, holding you steady while the storm passes through. The third step is compassion. Suffering can make you bitter, or it can make you tender. By turning toward compassion, you soften the edges of pain. You remind yourself, "I am not alone. All beings suffer. May this pain open my heart to others." In this way, personal suffering becomes the ground for universal compassion. Practical exercises help transform pain into strength. Journaling allows you to give words to emotions, releasing their hold. Meditation provides space between you and your suffering, showing that even the deepest pain rises and falls. Service to others shifts your focus from your own wounds to the shared wounds of humanity. Emotionally, this transformation feels like light breaking through clouds. The pain may not disappear, but it no longer destroys you. You begin to see that suffering has given you patience, resilience, humility, and depth. You discover that you are stronger than you knew. Spiritually, suffering becomes a sacred teacher. Each loss reminds you of impermanence, teaching you to cherish what remains. Each failure humbles the ego, teaching you that worth is not tied to success. Each wound deepens compassion, teaching you to love more fully. In this way, suffering becomes not the end of joy, but the beginning of wisdom. Relationships are also transformed. When you share your suffering honestly, you invite deeper connection. Others see your humanity and feel safe to share theirs. Together, you find healing in shared vulnerability. Suffering becomes a bond, not a barrier. Ultimately, transforming suffering into strength is not about escaping pain, but about using it. A broken heart can teach love. A failure can teach perseverance. An illness can teach gratitude for each day. A loss can teach the preciousness of life. Each hardship carries within it the seed of wisdom. Yet to receive this gift, you must be willing to stay, to breathe, to learn. And as you walk this path, you find that even the darkest nights contain stars. Even in suffering, there is light. And this light has more than heal you, it guides others. By transforming your pain into strength, you become a source of hope. Your story says, it is possible. You can endure. You can grow. And so suffering, once feared as the greatest enemy, becomes your greatest ally in awakening. Still, as this journey nears its end, one final step remains: to gather all these lessons silence, peace, compassion, presence, resilience, and weave them into a life of meaning. The closing chapter of our path invites us to look back with gratitude, forward with hope, and to step into the world carrying the wisdom we have found. Suffering can feel like a heavy stone placed on the heart. At first, it seems impossible to carry. But with time, mindfulness, and compassion, the same stone becomes the weight that builds inner strength. Without struggle, muscles do not grow. Without storms, roots do not deepen. In the same way, without suffering, the heart cannot discover its true resilience. The pain of resisting suffering is universal. People ask, why me? Believing suffering is unfair. Yet the Buddha taught that suffering touches everyone. No one escapes it, not the wealthy, not the powerful, not even the wise. To realize this is not to despair, but to awaken. Suffering is not punishment. It is part of the human journey. Emotionally, recognizing this truth changes everything. Instead of asking, why me? You begin to ask, what can I learn? Instead of feeling cursed, you begin to feel connected. You see that your pain links you to every other being. This realization softens loneliness and strengthens compassion. Practical wisdom arises when you turn wounds into lessons. A failed relationship may teach the value of honesty. A betrayal may teach discernment. An illness may teach the fragility and preciousness of life. Each experience, however painful, carries wisdom within it. Reflection turns pain into insight. Another powerful step is to share your story. When you speak openly about your struggles, others find courage. Your wounds become lanterns, lighting the path for those still in darkness. In this way, suffering not only strengthens you, but also serves the world. Meditation also transforms pain. When you sit with suffering instead of running, you see its impermanence. Even grief, heavy as it feels, shifts with time. Even despair eventually lightens. This insight brings hope. No storm lasts forever. Spiritually, suffering reveals the deepest truths. It shows the impermanence of all things, teaching gratitude for each moment. It humbles the ego, reminding you that control is an illusion. It deepens compassion, teaching you to see others not as strangers, but as fellow travelers carrying hidden burdens. Over time, you come to see suffering not as the end of peace, but as the doorway to a deeper peace. For when you face pain fully, it loses its power to control you. You are no longer a victim of suffering, but a student of it. Relationships are reshaped through this wisdom. When you embrace your suffering, you stop projecting it onto others. Instead of lashing out, you share openly. Instead of demanding perfection, you offer patience. Instead of closing your heart, you open it wider. Others feel this shift and healing flows between you. Emotionally, transforming suffering brings confidence. You realize, if I can survive this, I can survive anything. Fear loses its grip. Courage grows. Hope strengthens. You begin to live not in avoidance of pain, but in readiness to face it with grace. Ultimately, suffering becomes a teacher of love. It shows you what truly matters: kindness, presence, compassion. It strips away the trivial and reveals the essential. Through suffering, you learn that joy is not the absence of pain, but the presence of meaning. And when you live with meaning, even pain serves a purpose. This is the final transformation. Suffering, once dreaded, becomes the soil from which wisdom, compassion, and strength grow. And now, as we reach the end of this journey, we carry all the lessons together. The silence of achievement, the freedom from opinions, the wisdom of vulnerability, the peace of presence, the strength of suffering, all weave into a life of balance and depth. The closing words are not about escape from life, but about embracing it fully. With mindfulness, compassion, and courage, every moment, even the hardest, becomes a step on the path of awakening. Life is a journey filled with both light and shadow. Along this path, we face stress, fear, loss, and countless uncertainties. Yet within each challenge lies an opportunity to awaken. The teachings we have walked through together are not distant philosophies. They are living truths meant to be practiced in the quiet moments of daily life. We began by seeing the suffering of the modern mind, its restlessness, its hunger for approval, its fear of failure. We saw how negative thoughts can imprison us, how vulnerability can frighten us, how attachment to outcomes can steal our peace. And yet, step by step, we discovered doors of freedom. We learned that the mind, though wild, can be tamed with patience and mindfulness. We saw that vulnerability, when guided by wisdom, becomes strength. We found that silence protects our dreams, that selfless giving frees our hearts, that detachment from opinions restores our peace. We embraced mistakes as teachers, discovered the power of presence, and transformed suffering into strength. Each lesson is a thread, and together they weave a tapestry of resilience, compassion, and meaning. The message is simple yet profound. Peace is possible, not by escaping life, but by embracing it fully. When you breathe with awareness, you return to the present. When you forgive yourself, you release chains of regret. When you give without expectation, you taste freedom. When you face suffering with courage, you uncover wisdom. This is the path the Buddha pointed to, not a path away from life, but a path deeper into life. And now, as this journey closes, the invitation is clear. Carry these lessons with you into your days. Practice them in small ways, with each breath, each step, each word. Let mindfulness guide your choices. Let compassion shape your relationships. Let courage light your way. You do not need to wait for perfect conditions. The path is here, now, beneath your feet. Begin where you are, with what you have in this very moment. And as you walk, remember, you are not alone. All beings share this journey. Every smile, every act of kindness, every moment of presence contributes to the healing of the world. May you walk forward with a peaceful heart. May your suffering become strength. May your mistakes become wisdom. May your life become a gift, shining quietly yet powerfully in a world that longs for light.